Everyone's talking about industries like robots, AI chips, and space, but the ocean is where the next trillion-dollar technology race is happening. It houses the cables delivering our internet, the pipelines that power our homes, the critical resources we need, and the shipping routes that run the economy. This is why the world's most cutting-edge defense company, Anduril, is securing billion-dollar contracts to develop subsea drones to protect these assets. I think this trend will be so huge. I just put 70% of my portfolio into a stock that's poised to explode from it. It's a hidden gem with clear 10x potential, and if you're watching this, it's a miracle. You're witnessing the video that will cement my legacy as a finance YouTuber. This video is about Kraken Robotics, the secret defense stock powering Anduril's arsenal of subsea drones it just began mass manufacturing. First, I'll explain how Kraken is to underwater autonomy what Nvidia is to AI. Then, I'll discuss how betting on Kraken is the same as betting on Anduril. Finally, I'll tell you the numbers guiding my 2030 price target, why the timing makes sense now, and how you can buy this stock because it's not on Robinhood. Before we begin, these videos I make are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not financial advice. Investing is risky, and you must do your own research. To understand Kraken's potential, I first need to explain the tailwinds propelling this company to the heavens. The defense industry has invested hundreds of billions in aerial autonomy, especially since drone combat defined the Ukraine war. But militaries are now realizing underwater drones may be even more important. Manned systems are simply too expensive and dangerous for our soldiers. Just think about mine countermeasures. There are over 300 mine hunting ships globally, and most are over 20 years old. These floating death traps cost hundreds of millions each and require massive crews to operate in the world's most dangerous waters. The US Navy has only a handful of these vessels, and most are controlled by Russia and China. The math doesn't work, but unmanned underwater vehicles, or UUVs, can clear sea lanes without risking a single sailor's life. The reality of our world right now is driving the urgency. We're seeing more conflict over critical maritime choke points. China is aggressively posturing in the South China Sea, threatening $3.4 trillion in annual trade and flexing a shipbuilding capacity that's 200 times the United States. To counter this threat, the US Navy has set an aggressive plan to be ready with UUVs by 2027. Undersea infrastructure is also at risk, as we saw with the Nord Stream pipeline attacks that sent Europe into an energy crisis. And what most people always forget, 99% of intercontinental internet traffic travels through undersea fiber optic cables. When Russia cut internet cables in the Baltic Sea, it showed the new face of warfare in this digital world. The deep seabed also holds the key to our technological future. Critical minerals like cobalt, lithium, and rare earth elements needed for batteries, semiconductors, and renewable energy lie on the ocean floor. That's why President Trump just signed executive orders to expedite offshore mining permits. Overall, the growing imperative to invest in underwater defense could not be more clear. So what's Kraken's role in this tech shift, and why is it positioned for its Nvidia moment? In 2012, a seasoned marine tech executive called Carl Kenny started Kraken Robotics with a simple objective. He'd watched traditional sonar companies charge premium prices for inferior technology. Traditional underwater imaging was like watching black and white TV. Kraken's tech would upgrade it to HD. Its synthetic aperture sonar tech delivered 10 times better resolution than conventional systems. Instead of blurry images that missed critical details, Kraken could map the ocean floor with surgical precision. But here's where it gets interesting. Kraken didn't just stop at selling sensors. They realized navies and offshore energy companies needed more than eyes underwater. They needed power and vehicles too. So Kraken built two new pillars for their business that made them truly competitive. First, their cutting-edge sea power batteries that deliver double the energy density of traditional options. They're rated at depths of 6,000 meters, enabling long and deep missions for the vehicles they power. Then Kraken began building their own vehicles, like the Catfish and their Thunderfish autonomous sub. Kraken's Catfish can map the seabed at 3-centimeter resolution while moving at 10 knots, a combination of speed and image quality that's basically unmatched. This vertical integration creates a massive competitive advantage. Most companies in this space specialize in just one piece of the puzzle. Kraken controls the entire technology stack. The only other companies that offer such a complete package are defense primes worth tens of billions of dollars. Kraken makes money across two main revenue streams, with navies, defense contractors, and offshore energy companies as their main clients. Product sales account for roughly 75% of revenue. They sell sonar systems, batteries, and complete underwater vehicles. Services make up the remaining 25%, where Kraken operates their robots under contract, performing surveys and 3D mapping. The high barriers to entry to develop develop tech in this industry enables strong margins. Product revenues carry around 50% gross margins, while services can push even higher, sometimes up to 75%. And Kraken's business has absolutely exploded in recent years, with minimal debt and strong profitability. They went from just 12 million Canadian dollars in revenue in 2020 to 91 million in 2024, growing at a CAGR of 65%. They went from losing money to generating over 20% net income margins. Management is guiding 120 to 130 million CAD this year, which shows their continued aggressive growth trajectory. So with autonomous defense stocks being a hot investment category lately, you might be wondering why Kraken's valuation is still attractive. At the time of this video, Kraken is worth about 1.3 billion CAD, trading at a trailing 12-month PE of 77. Compare that to other mid-cap drone stocks like AVAV and Kratos. AVAV trades at a PE ratio of 152, while Kratos is trading at 451. This is proof that Kraken is a hidden gem, a profitable, well-managed, and fast-growing business that's about to see its revenue explode from its partnership with Anduril. If you haven't heard of Anduril, I recently made a video on it if you need to get up to speed. But long story short, it's the AI weapons company started by Palmer Luckey, who sold his virtual reality company Oculus to Facebook for $2 billion when he was just 21 years old. It's now among the world's fastest growing private companies, worth $30 billion, known best for its sentry towers guarding the US border, autonomous interceptor missiles, and aerial drones deployed in the Ukraine war. When Anduril decided to expand into maritime autonomy, they acquired a startup called Dive Technologies in 2022. Dive specialized in large autonomous underwater vehicles, and they were already using Kraken sonar and batteries. Post-acquisition, Anduril recognized it was better to use proven tech than try to reinvent it, and now this partnership has become the linchpin of Kraken's future growth. Anduril's underwater product lineup is stacked, and each system relies on Kraken. First, there's the Dive LD. These are 18-foot autonomous submarines capable of 10-day missions at depths up to 6,000 meters. Every single Dive LD carries approximately 2 million CAD worth of Kraken's high-resolution sonar and batteries. Then there's the big boy, the Ghost Shark XL, an underwater truck that carries around 10 million CAD of Kraken tech. Third, we have Copperhead, Anduril's revolutionary torpedo drone that's battery-powered and costs a fraction of traditional weapons. Finally, we have the Seabed Sentry program, which is like an underwater alarm system, which is likely to leverage Kraken's batteries. Now here's what's absolutely crazy. Anduril just opened a new 100,000 square foot manufacturing facility in Rhode Island. This factory is designed to produce up to 200 Dive LD vehicles per year at full capacity, plus Dive XLs and other products. Just think about that scale for a moment. At just 50% of Anduril's planned capacity, that's potentially hundreds of millions in annual revenue for Kraken from this one program alone. That would more than triple Kraken's entire 2024 revenue from a single customer relationship, but it gets better. The Australian Navy just awarded Anduril a $1 billion USD contract for dozens of Ghost Shark XL platforms over 5 years. That also includes co-funding a second manufacturing facility. Stateside, the US Navy has selected Anduril's platforms for their replicator program and has already taken delivery of Dive LDs and Dive XLs. Other allied nations, including Japan, South Korea, and the UK, are all evaluating similar deployments. If even half of these programs reach production scale, Anduril could be manufacturing hundreds of UUVs annually by the end of this decade. And here's the beautiful part. Kraken is already scaling up for this. The company just announced a new 60,000 square foot battery manufacturing facility in Nova Scotia that will triple their current battery production capacity by late 2025. The timing and the location of this factory, not far from Anduril's one, is perfectly aligned with their production ramp up. So let me walk you through the math. But before I do that, I'd like to invite you to join my community. My free Discord is the #1 online community for Kraken Robotics shareholders, and it's packed with incredible tools no matter what stocks you trade, like a Trump tracker and an insider trading monitor. I also run a private community for serious investors of Kraken. Our members are holding millions of the stock collectively, and we dive into exclusive information, discuss other asymmetric stocks, revise revenue projections, and use an AI tool I built to track every piece of news on this company's progress. Check out both at the link in my description. The few analysts covering Kraken Robotics have buy ratings, but they're massively underestimating Anduril's ramp-up potential. Anduril operates like a Silicon Valley startup. They move fast and iterate rapidly. The Rhode Island facility could hit 200 units per year faster than anyone expects because they're using innovative software-defined manufacturing. Meanwhile, Kraken CEO Greg Reed has hinted the company will land another XL UUV contract beyond Anduril this year. And remember, XL UUVs carry up to 10 million CAD of Kraken content per unit. I'm conservative conservatively modeling 100 dive LD units per year by 2027, ramping to 200 to 250 by 2030. For GoShark XL platforms, I'm projecting 40 units in 2026, growing to 100 by 2030. Combined, these programs could generate massive Anduril-related revenue, growing to over 1.3 billion CAD by 2030. My numbers show sales from this one contract could be equivalent to Kraken's entire market cap in under 5 years. And come on, we can't forget that Kraken's core business is growing extremely fast as well. Add in sonar, catfish systems, and services, and we're looking at total revenue approaching 1.8 billion CAD by the end of the decade. That would represent 20x sales growth from 2024 levels. Even more importantly, this revenue comes with exceptional margins. Kraken's specialized technology commands premium pricing with limited competition. I'm projecting EBITDA margins expanding from 20% today to 25 to 30% as they achieve scale. By 2030, that implies EBITDA of around $500 million CAD. Compare that to Wall Street estimates. The highest street estimate from Scotiabank is just 244 million CAD in revenue by 2027. I think they'll hit that by 2026 and reach 500 million CAD by 2027. But what are the risks that could derail this thesis? Let's get into them. Okay, so the biggest worry about Kraken is in customer concentration. What happens if the Anduril partnership goes away? Here's why I don't think that will happen. First, Anduril has multi-year contracts they need to deliver on. They can't afford to slow down their programs, and the switching costs are enormous. In defense contracting, once a technology is integrated and tested in prototypes, switching suppliers becomes extremely costly. Navies demand battle-tested gear and won't tolerate delays from component changes. Kraken's technology was chosen after competitive evaluations against alternatives. Ripping it out now would delay critical programs by years when the US has hard 2027 goals to have UUVs. Third, Kraken's tech is genuinely the best available. Anduril didn't stick with them for convenience. The company's motto is innovate or die, and complacency just isn't in the cards for this business. Finally, Kraken isn't just locked into Anduril, by the way. Huntington's Hydroid subsidiary also uses Kraken components in their Remus underwater vehicles. Kraken has also said it will likely close another XL UUV contract this year. The second major risk is lumpy revenue from defense contracts. Government procurement can be unpredictable, creating quarterly volatility. But Kraken's rapidly growing services business helps smooth this out. Services grew 47% in 2024 and generates recurring revenue streams rather than one-time product sales. As this business line scales, it provides natural hedging against product timing issues. Next, we have to talk about competition, but I don't think that's a problem. The reality is that developing cutting-edge synthetic aperture sonar and deep-sea batteries requires expertise that takes years to build. Kraken has a 10-year head start, and the urgency in this ocean tech race is happening now. Finally, there's recession risk. Everyone's worried we might be at the top of the market, but defense companies actually tend to outperform during recessions because national security remains a priority when budgets tighten. The current build-up period is driven by genuine strategic threats from China and Russia, not economic cycles. The offshore energy and deep-sea mining markets that Kraken serves aren't cyclical either. So why is time of the essence for investing in Kraken right now? I don't think there's time to wait on this opportunity because there's so many catalysts that could be popping up in the short term. First, any Anduril announcement could send shares soaring. We saw this in September when the Australian GoShark contract drove the stock up 17% in one day. As Anduril's production facility comes online, each milestone will validate the company's potential. Second, like I said earlier, CEO Greg Reed has publicly stated Kraken expects to land one more XL UUV manufacturer this year. That'll be a big announcement. It'll prove that the Anduril opportunity isn't unique. It's part of a bigger industry transformation. Next, I think an uplisting to a larger exchange like the NASDAQ is a serious possibility. NASDAQ uplistings require a sustained price of $4 or 550 CAD for 90 days. At the time of this video, the stock is around $3.30 USD. Most institutional and retail investors just don't know Kraken exists yet because it's a small Canadian company trading on the OTC market. This creates a massive information asymmetry that will eventually close. Also, as Anduril enters mainstream investor discourse, Kraken can ride on its coattails as the only investable proxy. I mean, if you look online, Anduril has already developed a cult following, and it's probably the most anticipated IPO of any company. Most Anduril fans have no idea Kraken exists, but they'll get so excited once they learn about it. We're in this amazing sweet spot where the fundamentals are accelerating, but the market hasn't caught up. So how high can Kraken stock go? Based on my projections for Anduril scaling and Kraken's existing business growth, I see Kraken reaching 1.8 billion CAD in revenue with 25% EBITDA margins. That implies roughly 450 million CAD in EBITDA. And at a very conservative 25x earnings multiple, that's around $33.50 CAD per share. At a 35x multiple, we reach 40 to 45 CAD per share. That represents 7 to 10x potential over the next 5 years. Scotiabank has the highest street estimate at just $6 CAD by 2027, but I think we'll see 15 to 20 CAD by 2027 if Anduril executes as planned. The company trades on the Toronto Venture Exchange under ticker PNG.V in Canadian dollars. In the US, it trades over the counter as KRKNF. You'll need a broker that handles international stocks or OTC markets like Interactive Brokers, Schwab, or Fidelity. If you're not using these platforms and like this stock, sign up at the link in my description to get a bunch of free perks. To conclude, I think this stock is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to catch the next hot industry. Our world is changing, and if you thought the space race was competitive, wait till you see the ocean race play out over the next few years. Kraken is a dream stock, fairly valued, fast-growing, and unknown to the mainstream. It offers a rare combination of near-monopolistic technology and critical defense components, explosive growth drivers, and a partnership with one of the most exciting startups of the 21st century. I've had some quick success as a stock market content creator, calling out some huge names before they exploded, but I think this one will make me someone who can truly spot asymmetric opportunities. If you want more information on Kraken Robotics and want to stay up to date on this story, check out both my free and private investing community at the link in my description, because I am now officially a crackhead.